Hi guys, welcome to a 20-minute Pilates video. Today we are going to be focusing on extending out of the shoulder joints and out of the hip joints. So expect a little bit of stretching, we'll do a tiny bit of core work, but mostly focusing on that extension through our body. So we'll get started straight away. We're going to come down into a tabletop position on your mat. Have your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Just relax your feet for now, spread your fingertips nice and wide, and we're just going to get started with a few cat-cows just to get the spine moving before we start moving properly. So on your inhale, I want you to take the crown of the head and the tailbone up to the ceiling, open up your chest forward. You can relax your belly button down to the floor, and then on your exhale, pushing the floor away, rounding through the spine, relax the head and the tailbone down to the ground. Really draw your belly button and start to engage a little bit through the lower abdomen. I'm going to do this 4 more times. Inhale, maybe seeing if you can make it a little bit bigger each time. Exhaling as you round through the upper back of the head hang. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Couple more, seeing if you can make it a little bit bigger. And rounding. 1 more time, breathing in, big as you can, and breathing out, rounding. Now, we're going to find somewhere between those two positions into a long spine. If you wanted an extra added challenge, pop a book or something onto your back here. Nothing that can hurt you, but something that, will just fall off if you shift or if you let your stomach relax for a second, it's going to fall off. Now, keeping your body in that long line, we're going to take our left arm and our right leg long without changing our body shape. So we're not going to let the stomach relax down to the floor. We're not going to start to arch through the lower back. We're going to keep everything drawn in. And then on your exhale, take the arm and the knee down. Other side, right arm, left leg. Inhale, extending apart. So I know this doesn't really look like a lot, but we really want to focus on just moving from the shoulder and moving from the hip joint. A few more of these. Left arm, right leg, extending, really drawing that lower belly in towards the spine. Trying to keep the neck in line with the spine as well so we don't get tight through the shoulders. And coming down. Breathing in, seeing if you can reach a little tiny bit further. And coming down, we'll do 1 more. Extending and coming down, and we're going to build it. So we're going to take the left arm and the right leg long, really focus on keeping this portion of your belly really sucked in, drawn in. Now from here we're going to take the arm and the leg out to the side. Woo, and come forward. 4 more of these. Try and point your toe if you can, just to help with the line of that leg, that extension. Come back. 3 more. Breathing in and breathing out. 2 more. 1 more. We're going to hold it here. Take the leg down. Take the hand down. We're going to sit our hips back into that left heel. Take the hands forward. So hopefully feeling a little stretch into the inner thigh on that right leg, into the right side of our hip, our groin. And just chill here for a moment. So kind of in, if you do yoga, your child's pose. But we have this right leg extended out to the side. Okay, pushing up into the hands, coming back up. We're going to do that all on the other side. So we'll take the right arm and the left leg out to the side. Hoping I'm not going to kick the table. Leg and arm, yeah I am. Comes out to the side. And then take it back. Hopefully you've got a little bit more room than me. Take the arm and the leg out to the side. And coming back. 3 more, breathing in. And breathing out. 2 more. We'll hold the next one, so take the arm, the leg out. Pop that leg down, take the hand down. We'll sit our hips back in towards our right heel. Relaxing down. We're in a child's pose, but I've got that left leg extended this time. Just relaxing down. Feeling that nice pull on your left inner thigh into the left hip joint. switching into your hands, coming back up into that tabletop position. I'm going to start to fire up a little bit. So tuck your toes, make sure your knees are hip distance apart so we're not together. We've got just about 2 fists width in between the knees, just to kind of as a good measure. Pick your knees up off the floor, try not to lift your hips up as you do this, and then you're going to take one leg back at a time. Now with this, just make sure that your shoulders stay above your wrist, so it can be quite tempting to move back. Keep the shoulders dead stacked above your wrist. Now we're going to extend solely from the hip joint. Nothing is going to move through our body. We're going to take the right leg back, point the toes, so it's like someone is pulling your leg behind you. And then on your exhale, take it down. Other leg, left leg, inhale, floating up and away through the hip joint. Exhale, taking it down. Right side, inhaling. And exhaling. Really try and keep your body still. Again, if you want that challenge, pop a book on your back. And come down. Couple more. Right leg. Come down. Left leg. And come down. We'll do one more. So the right leg is going to come back. Then we'll take it through into a pigeon pose. So we're looking to get the right knee somewhere on the right edge of the mat. The right foot can be towards the left knee, although it would be awesome if you could take it in line with the front edge of the mat. That's the ideal position. Now we keep both our hip bones equally facing towards the floor. You can stay here, you can come down onto your elbows, or you can take your arms long. Just make sure that you're not experiencing any kind of intense pain here. Little tiny pull into the glute, into the back of your hip is what we should be experiencing. If it's painful, you've gone too far. Don't get there. Stop before it becomes painful. So we'll just pause here for a moment, feeling that nice stretch into the back side of the hip now. Just making sure you haven't sat over into one side of your hips. And then bring yourself up. I'm going to do that all on the other side. So hands back underneath the shoulders. Tuck your left toes so we can come back into that high plank position. Step your right foot back. We'll do the same on the left. So pick up your left foot, take it through. We're coming through to a pigeon pose on that left side. So again, we're looking for kind of the shin to be in line with the front end of the mat, but it doesn't have to be. You can take it towards the right knee if that's more comfortable. Staying here on your elbows or taking the arms long, making sure you're not experiencing any pain at all. Hips equally facing to the floor, so we're not sat over into one hip more than the other. And we'll just chill here for a moment. Feeling that nice stretch in the back of the left hip. Might feel a little bit tight. Definitely feeling it on this side. Okay. Now we'll pop our hands back down to the floor. We're going to do half a push-up today. That's all I'm asking, so it's got to be perfect. So push yourself up, tuck your right toes into the floor. High plank position. Now, we're going to be focusing on the triceps a little bit more. So before we set off, just roll your shoulders back. So we've got lots of space between your ears and your shoulders. Pull your belly button into your spine. Tuck your tailbone if it started to lift up. We're going to squeeze our elbows down towards our rib cage, so our arms draw backwards. Slowly, carefully, bringing yourself down until you are on your belly. Fantastic. Okay, and then just make sure you've got a little bit of room in front of you to take your arms out long. Now, in Pilates, when we're on our tummies, we want to make sure that our legs aren't too wide, so they're hip distance apart. We're thinking about tucking our tailbone slightly down towards the floor, and I'm always constantly thinking about trying to pull my belly button up off the ground. It's not always possible, but really try it as hard as you can, and you know that you're lengthening out through your lower back. We're not overworking those lower back muscles, and instead we are working the core to help stabilize us. So we've got our arms out in front of us. Belly button is kind of trying to pull up off the floor. Mine is definitely not off the floor, but I'm trying. Tailbone is tucked. We're going to keep all of that in position as we extend our left arm and our right leg up and away. Same thing, we're extending out of the shoulder joint and out of the hip joint. We're not moving from the lower back. And then take that arm and the leg down. Other side, extending up and away. can put your book on your back here as well if you want. Exhale. Left arm, right leg. So we do want to avoid like a twisting through the body. So if you put a book on kind of the lower portion of your back, gives you that little added challenge, but not necessary. And come down. Just really thinking about reaching out the shoulder. Nothing else is moving. So again, annoyingly doesn't look like a lot of work, but it really can be, just to isolate and work through the shoulder and the hip joint, not through the torso. Hover your nose off the floor. Again, we don't want to get tight through the neck here. Right, I'm going to do both arms and both legs at the same time. Now, it can be even more tempting to crunch and overwork in those lower back muscles now. So, trying harder than ever to tuck the tailbone, lengthen out through your lower back, pick your belly button up off the floor. We're going to do both arms and both legs at the same time. Bit tricky. So take an inhale, reach both arms and both legs up and away. Again, try not to do this with your neck. I'm looking at you guys, but look at the floor if possible. That's not very exciting. Exhale, slowly come down. Inhale, reach everything up and away. And then exhale, slowly, being the key word, lower down. Inhale, reach up and away. Knee reaching. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to do 5 more. Breathing in. And breathing out. 4 more. Breathing in. So we're thinking more about length and height. We don't want to just throw everything up. Extension. Calm down. Breathing in. Tucking the tailbone, pulling the belly in. Breathing out. Couple more. Breathing in. And breathing out. We'll hold the next one. So reach everything up and away. We're going to hold it. Now, keep your torso completely still. No movement through the body. We're just going to go for a little swim, moving our arms and our legs in opposition, straight arms, straight legs. We're going to go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And relax. Ooh. Okay, take your left foot up. I'm just going to open up through the hip a little bit now. So left foot is up in the air, hands are kind of suckered down onto the floor just to help stabilise us here. We're going to take this left foot behind our right leg. Maybe it will touch the floor, maybe it won't, but these hands stay here, they anchor us to the floor. Now if you can take that foot down, let it go. If you can't, just let it hang where it is. And the aim of the game here is to get a nice opening through that left hip. Maybe through your spine, we get this nice spiral. It can feel quite nice, that compression, that rotation. So we're just going to pause here for a moment, getting that nice opening through the left hip. Quite subtle, but quite nice. And coming onto your tummy, we'll do the same the other side. So you're going to take up the right foot, and the right foot is going to thread behind onto the ground. Again, if it won't go onto the floor, that's fine. You just let it hang. Keep these hands on the floor, anchoring you down. Roll back onto your tummy. Perfect. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to push ourselves up, so no press up this time, but try not to wiggle through your body. So think about pulling your belly button into your spine and then gently, carefully pushing up from here. I'm just going to make sure this is still filming. Perfect. Okay, so from here we're going to do a child's pose, but we're also going to kind of switch it up a little bit so we work more into the shoulders. So we are here. Now in this position, I want you to pull your hips back so they are directly above the knees. Knees are hip distance apart again. And we're going to do, as I say, a child's pose. Not technically a child's pose, it's more like a puppy pose, but we keep our hips where they are, we take our hands forward, aiming to get our chest down to the floor before anything else. So different from the child's pose in that we don't sit our hips back, we keep them stacked above our knees. We aim to get the chest to the floor. If you can get your chest to the floor, fab. Pop your head, or so your forehead or your chin down to the floor. I prefer a forehead just because it doesn't overly flex through your upper neck, through your cervical spine, but it's up to you, chin or forehead. And all we are doing here is aiming to increase that extension through the shoulder joint. Now from here, just bring a little bit of weight back into your hands. We're going to tuck the toes, lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Come into a downward dog, try and draw your heels down to the floor. Now in this downward dog, make sure your feet are hip distance apart, so they're not too wide. And if you need a little bend in your knees, that is completely fine. I'd rather that you had a bend and you're thinking about extending your tailbone up to the ceiling and having straight legs, and you kind of end up here. So fingertips wide, knees as bent as you need them to be, or straight if you're feeling particularly bendy. Tailbone up to the ceiling, shoulders relaxed, head relaxed. Still breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Taking one more breath, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Then we're going to start to walk our hands back towards our feet one at a time until eventually we can pop a little bit of weight onto our feet. Now try and keep the weight on the pad of the foot so we're not kind of swaying back into our heels. Weight is slightly forward on the foot just so we get that true nice stretch into the hamstrings and we're not bringing it more into kind of the upper thigh, the upper part of our hamstrings. We want to get into the belly of the hamstrings. So weight forward onto the pad of the foot. Let everything drop for a second. Again, if you need that bend in your knees, if your hamstrings are feeling a little bit tight, a little bit sore, that's completely fine. Just let everything relax, everything drop. I'm going to count this down from 10 and we're going to roll up through our spines and rebuild our spines for the rest of the day or the night, whenever you're doing this. So take your breath in and then on your exhale we're going to go for 10, starting to bring the pelvis to an upright position. 9, 8, so think about bringing the pelvis up before anything else. 7, 6, 5, halfway, and 4, 3, and 2, and 1, and then once you're up, roll your shoulder blades back and have a lovely rest of your day. Well done, guys.